Challenging is not a strong enough word to describe my last two annual visits to Mexico. Oh, I always look forward to catching up on the latest Mexican-Canadian business forays, discussing the local economy with analysts and officials, the warm hospitality, not to mention the warm weather. Right now Canada's in a deep freeze. But lately, January hasn't been this country's best month. Last year, it was week one of the new U.S. administration, complete with the announcement and immediate withdrawal of a border adjustment tax. This year, NAFTA hangs in the balance, and a general election is imminent. Is this just a repeat of last year's fiasco, or is this a more serious Mexico moment? The current U.S. administration's about-face on trade policy is nothing if not dramatic. When NAFTA was agreed, the border became more fluid, the maquiladoras were set up, and so on. It was an intentional policy that recognized that higher trade and investment deficits, for a season, were a worthy price for the U.S. to pay to lower illegal immigration, illicit business activity, and corruption. Freer trade and cross-border investment has given hope to a new generation of Mexicans who no longer have to flee to succeed. Current U.S. policy threatens to undo that with potentially serious consequences. So far, the political bluster hasn't blitzed Mexico's economy. 2017 growth is set to reach 2.2%. Exports have managed to post a respectable 2.8% increase. Moreover, foreign direct investment into Mexico will easily surpass $20 billion, which is shy of record territory, but still an impressive number. As in Canada, Mexican business has barreled on, capitalizing on the upsurge of global growth. Maintaining the status quo is becoming increasingly difficult. With the U.S. upping its threat to cancel NAFTA, businesses face serious, real-life decisions. Supply chain risk is at the very least causing businesses to develop risk plans for sourcing. The prospect of new content rules is affecting location decisions. Foreign multinationals are more reticent about being under the White House's microscope regarding current or prospective Mexican operations. In fact, on a number of fronts, it's business investment in Mexico that's most at risk. Proposed changes to current trade architecture are the big factor, but there are broader implications. With Mexico staring down the July 1st elections, the very real possibility of a U-turn in policy direction adds great uncertainty to the business climate. A populist shift to a more contentious and less business-friendly leader may exacerbate the situation, weighing against future investment projects. The implied fiscal insecurity is another factor. Businesses add future tax liabilities into their investment equations. Uncertainty on that front changes things. Moreover, government incentives have been instrumental in drawing investment to Mexico. Lower capacity to fund new business ventures would be a drawback. Political change would also throw deregulation and privatization policies into doubt. Loss of economic activity also raises the specter of the security factor and the rise of illicit business, which by its nature often capitalizes on economic deterioration. The prospect of a throwback to poorer times is particularly frustrating, as for all parties concerned, it's all so unnecessary. First of all, the notion that Mexico is stealing jobs from other nations doesn't square with the data. The U.S. has a 4.1% unemployment rate, Canada's is moving in on 5%, and Western Europe is moving toward cyclical lows. True, the lower level of overall labor market engagement is exaggerating the success, but even that is changing for the better. A second related fact is that global growth is rising more rapidly than anyone expected. There seems to be plenty for everyone, without tit-for-tat protectionism. Third, a wide body of theory and now decades of practice prove that more restrictive trade is bad for everyone, including the perpetrators. Mexico stands to lose the most if the deal unravels, but they will be one of three on the loser podium. Ultimately, nobody wins. The bottom line? Mexico is benefiting from a rise in global growth. Good news for Canadian exporters and investors in the market. So far, that rising tide that lifts all boats is working. poke holes in one or more of those boats, and they become a liability for all the other ships in the harbor. Until next week, I'm Peter Hall.